Alright guys, so welcome back. As you all know, it's all about history right on this channel dating back to time immemorial, and today is another glorious day to talk about the story of some illustrious daughter, this time around, not son, soil of Africa, some women of valor, women of virtue, and a woman who was an epitome of African inclination. Like, I don't know much of the adjective to qualify her, which she was one of those who suffered one of the fates in an African who suffered in the hands of colonizers then. So let me go on to unveil the whole story of Sarah Baartman. Not Batman, actually, Batman. You know, the story of Batman of South Africa was the story of a man who had an unusual long backside. Yep, you understand that quite alright. She had an unusual large ass. Like, sorry for the use of that language. Unusual large backside. You should understand better by now. No, Sarah Baartman, also known as Sat J. Baartman, was a Xhosa woman who was born in South Africa in the late 1789, or let's say 17 or in the late 1700s. She is famous for being exhibited as a freak show attraction in Europe in the early 18th century because of her large buttocks, which was considered unusual and exotic at the time. You know, these Europeans, as at then, these colonizers, are fond of erotic appearance, and seeing Sarah with an unusual large backside and buttock, just like you're saying right there, they see it as a kind of attraction to them and a show to which they were considered unusual and exotic at the same time. Sarah Baartman was born in the Gamtus Valley in what is now known as Eastern Cape Province of South Africa. She was a member of the Khoikhoi, a group of indigenous people who lived in the region. As a young woman, Sarah Baartman was taken from her home by a British ship doctor, which was named William Dunlop, who promised her work as a servant in Cape Town, South Africa. However, instead of being employed as a servant in Cape Town, which was in South Africa, then Sarah Baartman was taken to England and exhibited as a sideshow attraction under the name Hottentot Venus. Like a human that needs job and just to work to feed and support her family, and you approach her under the pretext that you give her what she needed, but unfortunately you traded her into slavery and some kind of attraction, fun, like to your own people, which is very, very disgusting to the hearing. You know, Sarah Baartman's large buttocks and elongated labia were considered unusual, exotic, and erotic. You know, she was put on display in London and Paris, where people paid to gawk at her, where people paid just to have a look at her, and I think she was practically naked during this time. She was also made to perform various tricks, which ranges from dancing, singing for the entertainment of the spectators, all because of her unusual sight, unusual body structure. Sarah Baartman was treated poorly during this time. Like, of course, you can't expect it, someone subjected into kind of dehumanizing treatment to be treated nicely. She was treated poorly and was not paid for any of her performance, even though she was the one doing it. She was doing it for someone else's pocket. You know, Baartman died of syphilis in 1815. I'm not sure if the date is correct, actually, at the age of 26. She was sexually assaulted multiple times, and her captors were paid in exchange to experience Sarah, also known by the stage name the Hottentot Venus. Because of her large buttocks, which was unusually large, they find her sexually appealing, and they take at no measure or level to exploit her sexually, assault her, and abuse her sexually just to have a taste of what she is like, because they find her sexually attractive and sexually erotic to them because of her unusual large buttocks and size. You know, captors were paid in exchange to experience Seura, also known by the stage name the Hottentot Venus. That is kind of language. Then they have the experience of Sarah Baartman, which was also known as the stage name of Hottentot Venus. And Her remains were dissected and put on display in a museum in Paris. In 2002, the South African government successfully campaigned for the return of Batman's remains to South Africa, and she was finally laid to rest in 2002 in South Africa after a dissected body were gathered. You know, Batman's story is a tragic one and serves as a reminder to the exploitation and mistreatment of people of color throughout history, and may our soul rest in eternal peace. Imagine just being exploited, dehumanized, and assaulted sexually because of your sex appellation, because of being sexually appealing to monsters that parade themselves as colonizers or captors. You know, I think when I saw a news then with one of the white women holding a placard saying the white race, I mean the British, the whites, the Americans, which the French, should be grateful that what the blacks, which the Africans want, is equality, not revenge. Because if that should be the case, most countries would have been wiped off. But then it is what it is with the dehumanizing acts that some Africans will have to undergo or go through in the hands of these so-called slavers and captors. Just like one of this is Sarah Batman's tragic story and death.